What if the day you were born holds a secret key to your deepest self? Carl Jung, the legendary psychologist, believed that numbers, symbols, and even your birth date could unlock hidden truths about who you are, not through astrology or superstition, but through the profound language of the unconscious mind. Carl Jung, the pioneering Swiss psychiatrist, revolutionized psychology with his exploration of the unconscious, the hidden part of our minds that shapes our instincts, dreams, and even our destiny. He introduced groundbreaking ideas like archetypes, universal symbols embedded in humanity, the collective unconscious, a shared psychic inheritance, and synchronicity, the mysterious alignment of events that seem meaningfully connected. But here's the fascinating part. Jung also saw deep significance in numbers and patterns, including birth dates. He didn't view them as random digits, but as potential mirrors of our inner world. Could the day you were born reflect your personality, challenges, or life's purpose? Today, we'll explore how Jung's theories intersect with birth dates and what yours might reveal about you. Carl Jung's concept of synchronicity challenges our conventional understanding of cause and effect. He proposed that certain events are connected not by direct causality, but by meaning, a hidden order that transcends logic. Imagine thinking of an old friend you haven't seen in years, only for them to call you the same day. Or noticing repeated numbers, like your birth date, appearing in unexpected places at pivotal moments. Jung called these meaningful coincidences, and he believed they were far more than random chance. They were glimpses into a deeper layer of reality, where the inner world of the psyche and the outer world of events mysteriously align. For Jung, synchronicity wasn't supernatural. It was evidence of the unconscious mind's ability to weave patterns that escape rational explanation. This idea opens the door to a fascinating question. Could the date you were born be one such synchronistic sign? A numerical imprint that carries unconscious clues about your personality, your struggles, even your path in life? Jung's exploration of archetypes and the collective unconscious takes this even further. He suggested that beneath our personal memories and experiences lies a shared reservoir of human experience, a collective unconscious that shapes our instincts, dreams, and behaviors. Archetypes are the universal symbols that emerge from this realm: the hero, the shadow, the wise old man, the mother. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're living forces that influence how we perceive the world and ourselves. For example, someone born under the influence of the hero archetype might feel an unconscious pull toward challenges and self-discovery, while someone connected to the sage might naturally seek wisdom and truth. Jung saw these patterns everywhere, in myths, religions, and even in the way individuals unconsciously live out these timeless roles. So, if archetypes are so deeply embedded in our psyche, could the numbers tied to our birth date act as a kind of code, pointing toward the archetypal energies that shape us? This brings us to Jung's fascination with numerology and symbolism. While he never outright endorsed numerology as a divinatory tool, he recognized numbers as more than quantities. They were primordial symbols, deeply rooted in the human psyche. In cultures across the world, numbers carry meaning beyond their face value. 3 signifies harmony, 4 represents stability, 7 hints at mystery and spirituality. Jung saw numbers as archetypal in their own right, appearing in dreams, myths, and even the structure of the unconscious itself. He once wrote that numbers were the most primitive expression of the spirit, a bridge between the tangible and the intangible. So when we look at a birth date, we're not just seeing a random assortment of digits, we're encountering a symbolic fingerprint, one that might resonate with the deeper currents of the psyche. Whether through the reduction of numbers in numerology, like the life path number, or the seasonal patterns tied to birth months, Jung's work invites us to consider, what if these numbers are whispering secrets about who we are, waiting to be decoded? Taken together, These ideas form a compelling lens through which to view the connection between birth dates and identity. Synchronicity suggests that the timing of our birth could be meaningfully linked to our life's narrative. Archetypes hint at the universal roles we might embody, and numerology offers a symbolic language to interpret the numbers that define us. Jung didn't claim this was a rigid science, but he did believe that by paying attention to these patterns, we might uncover hidden layers of ourselves. The question isn't whether your birth date dictates your fate, but whether it carries echoes of a deeper story, one written in the language of the unconscious. Jung's perspective on astrology offers a fascinating bridge between celestial patterns and psychological tendencies. While he approached astrology with a scholar's caution, he recognized its value as one of humanity's oldest symbolic systems for understanding personality and destiny. In his letters and essays, Jung noted how astrological symbols often aligned remarkably well with psychological patterns he observed in patients. He saw the zodiac not as a deterministic force but as a projection screen for the unconscious, a cosmic mirror reflecting inner archetypal energies. The position of planets at one's birth, in this view, becomes less about celestial bodies controlling fate and more about meaningful coincidences that express fundamental aspects of the psyche. This symbolic approach allows us to consider how birth dates might carry archetypal imprints without requiring literal belief in astrological causation. The sun sign, representing one's core identity in astrology, correlates interestingly with Jung's concept of the self, the central archetype of wholeness and personality integration. The exploration of birth numbers through numerology provides another compelling angle for understanding personality through dates. The life path number, derived by reducing one's full birth date to a single digit, offers a straightforward yet profound symbolic framework. For instance, someone with a life path number 1, born on the 1st, 10th, 19th, or 28th, often displays leadership qualities and independence mirroring the archetypal pioneer, while a number 2 individual might embody the diplomat's sensitivity and cooperation. Jung would likely view these numerical patterns not as rigid categories but as symbolic indicators of potential psychological tendencies. The recurrence of certain numbers in a person's life, whether in birth dates, addresses, or significant events, can form what Jung called a numinous pattern, suggesting an underlying archetypal theme seeking expression in that individual's life journey. Scientific research into seasonal birth patterns adds an empirical dimension to this exploration. Numerous psychological studies have identified correlations between birth seasons and certain temperament traits, possibly due to environmental factors like sunlight exposure during pregnancy or early infancy. For example, research suggests those born in summer months may demonstrate higher levels of mood variability, while winter births show associations with lower novelty-seeking behavior. While these effects are modest, they intriguingly parallel ancient astrological concepts about seasonal influences. From a Jungian perspective, such patterns could represent another layer of synchronistic meaning, where biological, psychological, and symbolic factors converge in ways that give personal significance to one's birth timing. The seasonal archetypes, the rebirth of spring, the abundance of summer, the harvest of autumn, the introspection of winter, may find subtle expression in personality inclinations. Examining real-life examples brings these concepts into sharper focus. Consider Carl Jung himself, born July 26th, life path number 8 in numerology, associated with power and transformation, under the zodiac sign of Leo, both symbolically connected to themes of leadership, creativity, and individuation that defined his work. Albert Einstein, born March 14th, a 3-5 life path in numerology, linked to expression and freedom, with his Piscean imagination and revolutionary ideas, embodied the archetypal visionary. Oprah Winfrey, born January 29th, a life path 22, the master builder, demonstrates the Capricornian discipline combined with the 22's potential for large-scale impact. These alignments don't prove causation, but they illustrate how birth dates can serve as symbolic markers of personality patterns that may unfold through one's life. Jung would likely suggest that such meaningful coincidences invite self-reflection rather than prediction, an opportunity to contemplate how the circumstances of our birth might resonate with our psychological journey. The interplay between these different systems, astrological, numerological, seasonal, and psychological, creates a rich tapestry for understanding personality through birth dates. What emerges is not a deterministic map, but a symbolic landscape where numbers, seasons, and celestial positions form a kind of archetypal vocabulary. This perspective allows us to honor the mystery of individuality while recognizing the universal patterns that shape human experience. Whether one approaches birth date analysis as literal truth, psychological metaphor, or simply an interesting thought experiment, the Jungian view reminds us that meaning emerges from the relationship between outer events and inner experience. The date of our birth becomes not just a chronological marker, but potentially a synchronistic signature, a starting point for the lifelong process of self-discovery and individuation that lies at the heart of Jung's psychology. To begin analyzing your birth date through a Jungian lens, start by reducing the full date to its essential numerical vibration. Take each component, month, day, and year, and distill them to a single digit, then combine them until you arrive at a foundational number. For example, if you were born on June 24, 1985, you would first convert June to its numerical equivalent, 6. Then reduce the day, 24 becomes 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. And finally the year, 1985 becomes 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 5 is equal to 23. Then 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Adding these together, 6 plus 6 plus 5 is equal to 17, and reducing once more, 1 plus 7, gives you a life path number of 8. This process of numerical reduction mirrors Jung's concept of distillation, stripping away surface layers to reveal underlying patterns. The resulting number isn't random. It carries symbolic weight, acting as a gateway to understanding core aspects of your personality and life journey. Once you've calculated your number, the next step is interpretation. Each digit from 1 to 9, along with master numbers like 11, 22, and 33, corresponds to specific archetypal energies and psychological traits. A person with a life path number 1, for instance, often embodies the pioneer, independent, driven, and innovative, resonating with Jung's hero archetype. A 2 reflects the diplomat, sensitive, cooperative, and attuned to relationships, aligning with the caregiver archetype. These numbers don't confine you but rather highlight innate tendencies and potential challenges. For example, a 4 might indicate a strong connection to the builder archetype, with traits like discipline and pragmatism, but it could also point to a shadow aspect of rigidity or fear of change. Jung would encourage you to explore these associations not as fixed labels but as dynamic symbols inviting self-reflection. The deeper work begins when you examine how this number interacts with your conscious and unconscious self. Jung's concept of the shadow, the repressed or unacknowledged parts of our psyche, suggests that our birth number might reveal not only strengths but also hidden challenges or unexplored potentials. If your number suggests natural leadership, like a 1 or 8, your shadow might manifest as difficulty with vulnerability or collaboration. Conversely, a 6, often associated with nurturing and responsibility, might struggle with boundaries or self-sacrifice. Reflect on moments when these patterns surface in your life. Do you over-identify with certain traits while rejecting others? Are there qualities tied to your number that you've neglected or exaggerated? This kind of introspection aligns with Jung's process of individuation, integrating disparate aspects of the self to achieve wholeness. Beyond the single-digit life path number, consider the significance of the individual digits that compose your full birth date. The month might represent overarching themes in your life, the day could reflect personal traits, and the year may connect to generational or karmic influences. For instance, someone born on the 11th, a master number, might experience heightened intuition or spiritual seeking, while the presence of multiple 3s could emphasize creativity and expression. Jung's fascination with numbers as archetypes suggests that these numerical patterns aren't coincidental but synchronistic echoes of deeper psychological currents. You might even notice recurring numbers in your daily life, which Jung would interpret as messages from the unconscious, urging you to pay attention to unresolved themes or emerging potentials. Finally, apply this understanding dynamically. Your birth number isn't a static destiny but a symbolic tool for self-awareness. Journal about how the traits associated with your number manifest in your relationships, career choices, and personal growth. Are you living in alignment with these energies, or resisting them? Jung believed that true self-discovery comes from engaging with these symbols actively, questioning, testing, and integrating their meanings into your lived experience. By treating your birth date as a mirror rather than a map, you open a dialogue with your unconscious, uncovering layers of meaning that can guide you toward greater authenticity and purpose. In this way, a simple numerical exercise transforms into a profound psychological inquiry, bridging the mystical and the practical in true Jungian fashion. The idea that birth dates could reveal personality traits inevitably raises questions about scientific validity. Critics argue that numerology, astrology, and similar systems fall squarely into the realm of pseudoscience, lacking empirical evidence, testable hypotheses, and the rigorous methodology required of true scientific inquiry. From this perspective, reducing complex human personalities to numbers or zodiac signs appears overly simplistic, ignoring the vast interplay of genetics, environment, and personal experience that shapes who we are. Skeptics point to the Forer effect, where vague, general statements are perceived as highly accurate, as evidence that people see meaning in these systems simply because they want to. When broad personality descriptors are presented as personalized insights, individuals tend to focus on what fits while overlooking what doesn't, a phenomenon that explains the enduring popularity of horoscopes and personality quizzes despite their questionable accuracy. Jung himself navigated this tension between symbolism and literalism with careful nuance. He never claimed that astrological or numerological systems were scientifically factual in a conventional sense. Instead, he approached them as symbolic languages, ways of mapping the unconscious that could reveal psychological truths without requiring literal belief in their mechanisms. For Jung, the question wasn't whether the stars influence personality, but why human beings across cultures persistently turn to celestial patterns, numbers, and archetypes to understand themselves. He saw these systems as projections of the psyche's inherent order-making tendency, a way of giving form to the intangible forces that shape human experience. This distinction between literal truth and psychological resonance allowed Jung to explore these ideas without dismissing them outright or endorsing them uncritically. He might argue that dismissing birth date analysis as mere pseudoscience misses its potential value as a tool for introspection, even if its claims don't hold up to laboratory testing. Modern psychology offers additional lenses for understanding why people find meaning in birth date systems, regardless of their scientific standing. Confirmation bias plays a significant role. Once we're told that a certain number or zodiac sign corresponds to specific traits, we're more likely to notice instances that confirm the association while ignoring those that contradict it. The human brain is wired to seek patterns, even where none exist, as a survival mechanism. This doesn't necessarily negate the personal insights people gain from these systems, but it does suggest that the meaning we derive may say more about our minds than about any objective reality encoded in birth dates. At the same time, some researchers argue that certain seasonal birth effects, like correlations between birth month and temperament, could have biological underpinnings related to prenatal vitamin D exposure, maternal diet, or other environmental factors. These findings, while modest, hint at possible intersections between symbolic systems and measurable phenomena, though they fall far short of validating astrological or numerological claims. The debate ultimately hinges on what we consider real. In a strictly materialist view, birth date analysis may seem like wishful thinking. But from a Jungian perspective, the psyche doesn't operate by laboratory rules. It speaks in symbols, dreams, and yes, sometimes numbers. The practical question isn't whether these systems are scientifically true, but whether engaging with them fosters self-awareness, creativity, or growth. Many people find that reflecting on their birth number or zodiac sign prompts valuable introspection, helping them recognize patterns they might otherwise overlook. Others dismiss it as entertaining but ultimately irrelevant. Jung's work invites us to hold both possibilities, that these systems may not be empirically valid, yet they can still serve as meaningful mirrors for the unconscious. In the end, the value of birth date analysis may lie not in its predictive power, but in its ability to spark curiosity about the mysteries of personality and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. The real power of exploring your birth date through a Jungian lens lies in how you apply these insights to your personal growth. One of the most effective ways to do this is through journaling, using your birth number or associated archetypes as prompts for deeper self-inquiry. Begin by writing down the traits typically linked to your number, then reflect on moments in your life when these qualities have appeared, both in their positive and challenging forms. For instance, if your number suggests a natural inclination toward leadership, examine situations where you've either embraced or avoided taking charge. This kind of reflective writing can reveal patterns you might not have noticed before, creating bridges between the symbolic meaning of your birth date and your actual lived experience. Take it further by asking probing questions. Where does this trait serve me? Where might it limit me? How does it show up in my relationships or career choices? This process aligns with Jung's concept of active imagination, engaging with symbols not just intellectually, but experientially, allowing them to spark new awareness and dialogue with your unconscious. Shadow work becomes particularly potent when combined with birth date analysis. Your number may point not just to your strengths, but to aspects of yourself you've disowned or repressed, the very definition of Jung's shadow. If your birth number suggests qualities you've historically dismissed as unimportant or even negative, this could indicate an area ripe for exploration. Someone with a number associated with creativity who has always identified as not the artistic type, for example, might discover they've been suppressing this part of themselves due to fear or early criticism. The shadow often manifests in projections. What irritates you in others may actually reflect qualities you've rejected in yourself. Keep a journal dedicated to these observations, noting when you have strong reactions to certain traits in people around you, then consider whether these might mirror something unacknowledged within you. This isn't about forcing yourself into a numerical mold, but about uncovering hidden potentials and integrating them consciously. While this exploration can be illuminating, it's crucial to remember that your birth date is just one lens among many for understanding yourself, not a predetermined script. Jung's concept of individuation emphasizes that we're meant to develop all parts of ourselves, not just those that align with initial predispositions. Think of your birth number as a starting point rather than a destination, a set of innate potentials that interact with your choices, experiences, and personal development over time. Someone with a number suggesting strong independence isn't doomed to struggle with intimacy. Rather, they may need to consciously develop relationship skills as part of their growth. This perspective prevents the fatalism that sometimes accompanies symbolic systems, keeping the focus on personal agency. The numbers don't define you, They invite you to consider which aspects of yourself you want to cultivate and which you might want to balance. Practical application might include creating personal rituals around your number, not superstitiously, but as reminders of qualities you're working to embody. If your number connects to communication, you might set an intention to speak more authentically. If it relates to service, you might look for daily opportunities to support others. Some people find meaning in noticing when their number appears synchronistically, not as a supernatural sign, but as a psychological nudge to pay attention to certain themes in their lives. The key is to engage with these ideas flexibly, playfully even, without becoming rigid or dogmatic. Jung himself cautioned against becoming enslaved by any system, no matter how insightful. The goal is always greater self-knowledge and wholeness, not adherence to external frameworks. Ultimately, the value of this exploration lies in its ability to deepen your relationship with yourself. Whether you take birth date analysis seriously or view it as a thought experiment, the questions it raises about patterns, potentials, and the mysterious interplay between chance and meaning can open doors to valuable self-reflection. Keep what resonates and leave what doesn't. Your birth date might offer intriguing clues, but you remain the author of your story, free to interpret, challenge, and transcend any symbolic blueprint. In the spirit of Jung's work, the most important takeaway isn't the system itself, but how engaging with it expands your understanding of your unique journey toward wholeness. As we've explored throughout this journey, your birth date carries far more significance than simply marking the day you arrived in this world. Through Carl Jung's revolutionary lens, we've seen how numbers, seasons, and celestial patterns may serve as symbolic mirrors reflecting aspects of your personality, hidden potentials, and even unconscious challenges. From the concept of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random, to the universal archetypes that shape human experience across cultures, Jung's theories offer a fascinating framework for understanding why we might feel connected to certain numbers or traits associated with our birth. While these ideas shouldn't be taken as rigid destiny, they provide valuable tools for self-discovery, helping us recognize patterns we might otherwise overlook and inviting us to engage in deeper shadow work and personal growth. Now it's your turn to join the conversation. After calculating your life path number and reflecting on its possible connections to your personality, we're curious, did it resonate with you? Comment your birth number below and share whether you see yourself in its traditional meanings, or if you've discovered something surprising about yourself through this exploration. Your personal insights could spark fascinating discussions and help others in their own journeys of self-discovery. And if you found this intersection of psychology, symbolism, and numerology intriguing, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of the human psyche. We regularly dive into Jungian concepts, psychological archetypes, and other thought-provoking topics that bridge ancient wisdom and modern understanding. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the mysteries of the mind. Remember, whether your birth number feels uncannily accurate or only partially applies, the true value lies in the questions it inspires rather than definitive answers. Jung's work reminds us that self-knowledge is an endless, enriching journey, one where symbols, dreams, and even our birth dates can serve as guides, but never absolute authorities. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of how the universe might be speaking to us through numbers, and we look forward to continuing this fascinating conversation with you in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and never stop uncovering the layers of your extraordinary psyche.